Hi guys, I'm going to put timestamps in the description of this video, so if you want to skip ahead to the advice, then go ahead. I would recommend watching the whole thing for the most part, because I think I've discovered some pretty useful stuff that a lot of people don't know about, and even if you're familiar with some of the things in this video, I think there'll be a lot that you most likely haven't heard of. I'm sure there's like 2 or 3 things in here that everybody can try. So as you can see, I have some like very mild acne, but it's not bad really. I have some like scarring here from, I don't know why, I just had loads here for some reason, and I had a lot here. You can't really see it here, but like a lot of I believe they're called PIEs, yeah, but otherwise, yeah, I mean, it's pretty much under control really. Like, it comes and goes, but basically it's gone really. Like, for example, this was like massive the other day, but it took like 2 days and it sort of went away. So I've kind of got it more or less under control, and in this video I'm going to share how I've managed to do that.
Alright, so I'm back in front of the normal big dome shitty quality camera. Anyway, yeah, I'm just going to talk briefly about my story, as it were. Again, if you want to skip this part, then just click one of the timestamps and get straight to the advice. But yeah, I never really had acne. I didn't really have it as a teenager. I had a tiny bit, but not really, just sort of, occasional bit, sort of normal amount. Then when I got older, didn't really have it. Again, like occasionally, if I'd been being very unhealthy, like staying up for days and like eating bad food and stuff, eating a lot of sugar. If I had like a huge amount of sugar, I would quite often get acne. But generally speaking, it's never really been a problem in my life. And then about 8 months ago, I split up with my girlfriend. I moved into my own place and made some lifestyle changes, and unfortunately, just for some reason, what came along with that was like really bad acne. Well, I don't know. I mean, really bad is a pretty broad spectrum, right? And one of the things I've learned throughout this experience is, in a way, even when I had it at its worst, how lucky I was really, because like I've been online and I've seen some people who just have like the most horrible time with it, and it's really sad because it's people who are like, nice, like normal looking people, and it like just like, I don't know, just destroys their confidence, and looks like in many instances incredibly painful, and like, yeah, so I do understand that, even to the extent that I've had it, I'm incredibly lucky. So yeah, hopefully if you're one of those people who's had it worse, like something in this video will be helpful, because there's a lot of very negative stuff online about it, saying like, don't bother with this, don't try that, just go on Accutane, just do this or that, and if this doesn't work, there's nothing you can do, blah blah blah. I think a lot of that is wrong and closed-minded, and I don't know why people talk like that about it when they don't really know, and it's not that well understood. Anyway, so I don't know exactly why it started for me. I think most likely cause was like a hormonal change, an increase in testosterone, because I quit smoking weed and I started working out like heavily and like every day. At first I was, in fact, well, I still am, but I went from, working out quite a bit, not that much, to like constant exercise, basically, strength training. And I'm pretty sure that was the main thing. I don't know. Apparently weed can suppress acne as well. I don't know exactly the mechanisms of that. I think it has some sort of antibacterial effect or something, but also it like suppresses certain hormones potentially, so there could be that, because it's around the time I quit smoking weed, and I started doing not NoFap. I've done a video about this, I'll link it in the description. It wasn't NoFap, but I just was like, I would experiment with it for like a week at a time. So quite a lot of things were altering my hormones, I guess. Also, I started taking creatine more regularly. I'm going to talk more about that later on in the video. I know an obvious answer to this is like, oh, you know, you're in a new situation, you were stressed and whatever else. I don't think it was that, because I've been less stressed, so I don't think that was anything to do with it. I wonder if maybe it's something about this apartment, the water or something, but what I had was pretty clearly hormonal acne due to like the location of it. For the most part anyway, it appeared to be like, it was like always like around my mouth and stuff, which is almost always hormonal acne. So I kind of don't think it was anything like that. Anyway, yeah, so if you're watching this and you're going through it at the moment, like, yeah, I'm really sorry. I know how hard it is. Like I say, to some extent, I don't really know how hard it is, because I feel like in a way I'm like a kind of tourist, you know, like with it. It's only been for a short period of my life, and I've been able to kind of get it under control. And even that has been like really bad and really unpleasant and just made me feel like shit, and made me yeah, I don't know, just made me feel incredibly bad about myself, and just not want to sort of go out much, and really impacted my confidence. So yeah, I don't know, not that it's much use, but yeah, basically I'm very sorry if you're going through that now, and I really hope this video can be useful in some way. So I'm going to go next on to things I had to quit doing very quickly, just for the sake of the timestamps. Again, the potential causes: maybe quitting weed, maybe starting a lot more strength training, maybe changing my creatine dosage, maybe doing occasional sort of a week at a time of NoFap. Those are the only things I can really see as having been potential causes. I don't know. Anyway, next I'm going to go on to things I had to quit or change or stop doing. All right, so things I had to quit or sort of alter or change or stop doing. The first one was protein shakes, whey-based protein shakes, for two reasons. One is they contain whey, which I guess is a form of lactose, and dairy seems to be problematic when it comes to acne. I'll go on to that in a minute. But yeah, the protein shakes as well, they have a lot of artificial sweeteners, and artificial sweeteners can really mess with your gut flora, your gut bacteria, and that is linked to acne. And I also just decided at a certain point, like, if you look at the number of ingredients that are in those, I would have these like chocolate protein shakes, and to be fair, they were really enjoyable. I would have this, like, there was this like sugar-free cereal, a lot of artificial sweeteners. Again, it was like that crunch cereal, you know, and I would have that with chocolate protein shake on it and milk. It was incredible. I used to look forward to it so much after my workout. Like every day I would have that, and it was so nice. But I started looking at the ingredients in the protein shakes and just thinking, what is this? It's just like, it's not real food. It's hang on, I'm going to turn this brightness down. Avoid that reflection as usual. Yeah, it's not real food. It's like nonsense. It's full of weird shit that I don't understand, and it's very processed and artificial. And again, all these sweeteners, like, they not to say that just because something's not natural it's therefore bad. Like, I don't agree with that, but there's so many variables there. There's so many ingredients that realistically we don't know that much about. Like, some of them, how long have they really been around for? You know, it's not like they've been things that humans have been eating for centuries. They're all these weird fucking things that were made in a lab. So I just thought, nah, got rid of those, and stopped eating artificial sweeteners altogether. I used to eat a lot of artificial sweeteners, and yeah, like sugar-free chocolate and biscuits and all this stuff. And yeah, got rid of all of that. I don't miss it. It's fine. It was easy to cut out, and I think it's had a lot of other benefits as well. Getting rid of it. It's not good for you, and also, I mean, if you've eaten a lot of artificial sweeteners before, then you'll know, like, you notice other symptoms. You know, when you have a lot of them. I'll go no further, but you notice that they have an effect on your body after you eat them. Quite a powerful effect sometimes if you eat too many of them, and to me that doesn't seem good. That seems like a good way to get IBS, really, like something that irritates your gut as much as that can't really be good for you. So yeah, I cut out all of the artificial sweeteners, the protein shakes. You don't need protein shakes. It's crazy, really. Like, I eat just like chicken and eggs and chickpeas and stuff like that, and like I get more than enough protein. I typically go about 50 grams over my protein recommendation a day without meaning to, and the recommended amount of protein for most people is a bit excessive. Like, according to studies, it makes a very, very marginal difference. You don't need as much protein as people typically say. So I'm talking in terms of people who are like bodybuilding and strength training here. Like, you don't need as much as is typically stated most of the time anyway, and if you do, it makes like a really small difference. Once you cross a certain point, you know, it makes like a tiny difference, and I have more than that anyway. So yeah, I don't miss those. They're not necessary. Yeah, dairy. So anyway, yeah, dairy, as I mentioned there. Dairy, again, it's not 100% clear why, but dairy is linked to acne in various studies. Cow's milk. Some people say that dairy in general is okay, but cow's milk was a problem for them. Initially, I was having cow's milk. I stopped anyway because I don't really like... I just didn't want to support dairy production because I think it's pretty horrible the way the cows are treated, and I think they're pretty nice, intelligent animals, and I think it's pretty fucked up, really, the way they're treated for dairy. So I'd already stopped with that. I was sometimes having some other forms of dairy, but yeah, I cut those out anyway for other reasons. I will now very occasionally, if it's reduced and it's on its last day, like, and it's going to be, you know, it's like, you know, it's literally on the last day of its sell-by date and it's been marked down or whatever, I'll buy like sometimes some cheese or whatever. Sometimes, because I was having like calcium deficiency symptoms, sometimes I'll buy like a bit of feta, organic feta. I figure like an organic goat farm is probably a little bit better than, you know, sort of general mass dairy production from cow's milk. I don't know. I still am not hugely comfortable with buying that either, to be honest. Anyway, so yeah, dairy is an important one to cut out. Sugar, as mentioned earlier, the reason I was eating artificial sweeteners in the first place was because sugar is heavily linked to acne. It causes massive insulin spikes. It's just incredibly unhealthy anyway, sugar. Like, it really is like quite bad for you and addictive and just like not all that important to eat. And like, yeah, I mean, desserts are fucking delicious. Like, I understand that. I do kind of like, well, I wouldn't even say I miss them, but I can totally appreciate how nice they are. I really enjoy like ice cream and stuff like that, and it's fucking nice, but it's easy to go without, quite honestly. Like, it's and when you're eating it, when you're having a lot of sugar, you're so aware of how bad it is while you're eating it. For me, that makes it kind of hard to enjoy. Like, whenever I'm having like a really nice dessert, I'm trying so hard to like really enjoy it, because I know it's like practically like having fucking drugs. It's like so bad for you. So in a way, I prefer now to just eat stuff that I know is like fine to eat, that I still enjoy. I don't have to worry about as much. So yeah, cutting out sugar. Sugar causes, again, massive insulin spikes. Let me turn this down again. Sorry, maybe it's just me, but the glare drives me crazy. Yeah, sugar, it causes massive insulin spikes, and it's just generally quite bad for your overall health. And again, I think for your gut bacteria. So yeah, there's multiple reasons to stop with that. Similarly, carbs. Depends on the type of carbs, like stuff like white bread, crisps, fries, things like that. Those are generally speaking, much worse than, for example, things like chickpeas or whole grain bread. I think it depends on the type of whole grain bread though, because there's a lot of bullshit out there that's like, some of it is effectively the same as white bread in terms of its like GI rating, but yeah, stuff like chickpeas, brown rice, things like that, they're much better than like white bread, fries, that sort of thing, in terms of the insulin response that you have to them. And again, insulin is heavily linked to acne, hormonal acne as well, I believe. Or I don't think it's linked to hormonal acne specifically. I think it has a very similar mechanism to hormonal acne. So it will exacerbate hormonal acne, a pre-existing hormonal acne predisposition or problem. It will exacerbate that. So yeah, it's a bit annoying because I don't know, I really like some of those foods. I really like fries and crisps and stuff, and I used to be able to just eat them, like it didn't fucking matter. I could just fucking have a whole like sharing size bag of crisps or whatever, and it wasn't really a problem. And now it kind of is, and that's driving me a bit, well, I wouldn't say driving me crazy, that's definitely too much, but it's frustrating, yeah, because I would quite like to just be able to eat those things. It would be I'd like to just be able to just like fucking once in a while just go to KFC and just eat whatever and like not think about it. But yeah, the blood sugar spike just seems to cause me problems. I guess it's the same for a lot of people. Yeah, but carbs anyway, I've greatly, well, I haven't greatly reduced my carb intake because it's quite important for me for my training, but I'm having, for example, oats. I have oats every morning. I try to get carbs from vegetables. I have a lot of chickpeas. I have wholemeal wraps, like tortilla wraps. So I have like chicken wraps with a wholemeal tortilla wrap. Hummus, a lot of hummus. Those are the main things, really. Those are the main ways I get carbs, and they're processed more slowly. It's a bit weird, as you can see. That's my kitchen over there above the washing machine. Which I probably should have tidied before doing this video, and it's not exactly, as you can see, like the most, functional kitchen ever. It's basically one electric hob, so it's doing stuff like rice is a bit of a nightmare, so I just don't really bother. And basically, I can only really do stuff that I can like fry all in one pan. So yeah, but I think brown rice is a very good one in general, which I would have more of if I could. Okay, what else? Dairy, carbs, sugar, gut health. Chocolate, independently of its sugar content or anything else, appears to possibly exacerbate acne. I don't think it's understood why. Obviously, like sometimes it has a lot of sugar in, but not all chocolate does, and some dark chocolate has like quite a low sugar content, which I was eating a lot of for a while because it's a good way to get extra calories, especially when you're not like that hungry, it's good for training. But yeah, it just seems to, there's a couple of studies that have linked chocolate to acne, and it could be to do with the cocoa or something, even though cocoa is anti-inflammatory, which I'm going to get more into sort of anti-inflammatories, and inflammation in general later in the video. But yeah, in spite of that, it seems to cause problems. So I've more or less quit that. I mean, I had a little bit the other day, and like, yeah, I sometimes still eat some dark chocolate because it's really nice, and like you just have a small amount or whatever. But I was eating a lot of it and thinking this is fine because A, it's got cocoa, B, there's like barely any sugar in it, C, there's not even any artificial sweeteners in it. This is fine to have. But yeah, seemingly not. So that's one thing. The last thing I can think of that I quit or changed, I already mentioned this, but creatine. At first, I started to lower my dose of creatine. I mean, if you're not like, strength training or whatever, this is probably irrelevant to you. Although creatine does have a lot of cognitive benefits and it's pretty good for you in general. I think it has like benefits for women as well, not just men. But it is more of a thing for men and for training. Like that's what it's more widely used for. I was taking much earlier on, before all of this, before I had acne, I was taking it sporadically, which is hilarious, really, because it's like completely stupid. I was shutting down my natural creatine production by taking it, but I wasn't taking it regularly enough to have higher levels than had I not taken it in the first place. So really, it was counterproductive. It was very stupid, which goes to show why you should like actually read about supplements before using them, rather than just blindly taking them and assuming you know how to, what's best. But anyway, after that, I started taking quite a lot. I upped it to like, I don't know, first like 4 or 5 grams a day, and then I think about 6 grams a day. And I don't weigh that much, so like 6 grams a day is quite a lot. And then I experimented with cutting that way down to like 4 grams a day. But then I started to lose quite a lot of weight, and it was just a bit annoying, and I felt like it was impacting my training a bit. So I've increased it again. What I'm doing now is taking it in 2 doses. So I have some pre-workout and some post-workout, which is good because there's a bit of debate anyway over which is better, like pre-workout or post-workout creatine. So I'm doing both. And the thing with creatine, it seems to cause a spike in DHT, which again causes you to produce a lot of sebum, which leads to hormonal acne. So, spreading that out, I think, a bit similarly to how you can do with food, kind of, rather than having a massive dose of calories and causing a huge insulin spike in one go, spreading things out a little bit more, pacing things a bit can, seemingly blunt some of those responses a little bit. So, I'm just splitting that in 2 doses. Next, I'm going to talk about things I've been actively taking, supplements and things I've been taking to make it better, to improve my acne.
Sorry about the weird angle. I'm using a bunch of bananas as a kind of impromptu tripod. So the first and most important supplement is this pantothenic acid, aka vitamin B5. This works as a kind of Accutane alternative. It reduces sebum production. There was a study done on it that showed something like a 75% average reduction in acne severity over a 12-week period, with people dosing 2.2 grams a day. One of these is 500 milligrams, so I just take 4, which is 2 grams. It's more or less 2.2. I'm pretty sure this has worked really well. I can't say exactly. I don't know. But the timeline makes sense, So this is the thing I'm the most confident about. And again, it's backed up by research, and many people on Reddit and other forums have had great success with this. It doesn't work for everybody, but I think it's worth trying it for quite a long time and sticking with it and seeing if it helps you. I have a slight suspicion this might have a kind of mild purging effect. Sorry about all the noise, by the way. I waited for it to stop, but it's not stopping. A kind of mild purging effect in the way that Accutane does. Not anywhere near as bad, from what I gather, but I think that happened to me, and other people have reported the same thing, but there's no evidence to suggest that it would do so, so I don't know. But it wasn't anything severe at all, not like what you see from retinols and things like that. So I'd highly recommend giving this a try if you haven't already. Another thing actually that I forgot, this is a recent thing. Where is it? L-carnitine, L-tartrate powder. This also reduces sebum production, so taking that concurrently with B5 can be very helpful. Probiotics to promote good gut bacteria. There was a study done on this as well that had very similar results to the B5 study. It appears that your gut bacteria is very important for a huge number of things, including like your cognitive function and energy levels and loads of stuff, but also your body's ability to fight bacteria, and obviously acne and bacteria kind of go hand in hand. And there was another study done on this that showed, again, it was something like a 12-week period with daily probiotic supplementation, a really significant reduction in symptoms. So I've been doing that for a while. And again, I think that might have helped. I think it's just a good thing to do anyway. Vitamin D3, you've probably already been recommended this, very important supplement in general. Another one is zinc. Again, you've probably been recommended this already. The only thing to bear in mind with this is it can increase your testosterone levels, which is always good if you're a man, but I don't know exactly the effect zinc has on female testosterone levels, but if you're a woman, excess testosterone is not good, and also can cause hormonal acne. Testosterone in general for men and women can cause hormonal acne, but to me it's not worth reducing your testosterone to reduce your acne personally, unless it's like so severe, but I would never consider that. I think it's always good to have more testosterone, especially if you're training and stuff, but yeah, if you're a woman, then it's not good to have too much of it. And there are ways you can reduce that, like spearmint tea, peppermint tea. There's a thing called like saw palmetto or something. There are various different things you can do to reduce your testosterone levels if you're a woman, because that's a significant contributor to hormonal acne for women. Zinc, chromium. To be perfectly honest, I can't remember exactly. I think has some kind of antioxidant, anti-inflammatory properties. I looked up loads of supplements that had anti-inflammatory properties because I decided I was going to kind of approach it from an inflammation point of view, and I had to avoid a lot of them that had estrogenic effects or that had a negative effect on testosterone. So there are a few of those that I'm not taking, but that if you're a woman could be worth looking into. That would be resveratrol, quercetin and berberine. There may have been other concerns I had about those as well that put me off taking them, but all three of them in general do have very interesting health benefits. I just decided they weren't for me for various different reasons, but all worth looking into. So the inflammation thing, I thought that, since curcumin reduces the severity of acne, presumably through its anti-inflammatory properties, and I think even stuff like ibuprofen does, although obviously you don't want to be permanently on ibuprofen. I started looking into the anti-inflammatories route, like natural anti-inflammatories. I thought if I take loads of natural anti-inflammatories, it should surely reduce the severity, and I'm still doing that to some degree. The problem is I then found out, kind of annoyingly, that inflammation and oxidization are both quite essential processes for hypertrophic response to exercise. So even, for example, like ice baths, vitamin E and vitamin C supplementation, admittedly at high doses, can significantly blunt the hypertrophic effect of strength training, which I didn't want. So I'm having to be a bit careful with those. I'm using, for now, bromelain, sourced from pineapples, ginger, curcumin, although I prefer to just put that in my food, and perhaps a couple of others. Cinnamon I put in my food. But yeah, I have to be a bit careful about when I take these supplements. I try to avoid taking them around important training days. I have just tried really to take them on Sundays, really, and sort of try to not overdo it. I think it did help quite a lot, so I don't know. Yeah, I think that might be a useful thing to consider, depending what type of acne you have. And vitamin A. A lot of people think that vitamin A is only effective topically and not in supplement form. It's not actually true. It's not very effective as a supplement, but there was a study done that showed it did have some positive impact on acne. So yeah, I just take this occasionally. The problem with this is it's very easy to overdo it. A lot of people get vitamin A poisoning. You do have to be careful how much you take. Most of these are really overdosed. I mean, this is 375% of the recommended amount. So occasionally I take half of one of these. Some people think this might have a purging effect, again, similar to topical retinols and stuff. other people say that's, ridiculous and not true. It makes sense to me that it would, but I don't know. So yeah, occasionally I take a little bit of this, just why not? But again, yeah, it's one you have to be careful with. And I think that is all of them. Yeah, that's everything.
All right. Yeah, so that's all the... fish oil. I completely forgot. Omega-3 fish oil. Yeah. It apparently serves as some kind of like alternative to sebum production. So you don't produce as much sebum because your body like already has it as an equivalent from the fish oil or something. I don't know. Anyway, obviously fish oil is just a great supplement to take in general. A couple of other things. Vinegar. Apple cider vinegar. I'm not one of those apple cider vinegar nuts that thinks it can like fucking cure everything. I don't even know where that came from. I don't know. Maybe it does some really cool stuff. I'm sure it does. But yeah, I think some people have gotten a little bit out of hand with the apple cider vinegar. But it's proven to reduce the insulin spike after a big meal by about 30%, which is enormous. So yeah, I've been taking that before I have a big meal, especially meals with a lot of carbs and stuff. I just have like some diluted apple cider vinegar. It's actually surprisingly, well, I wouldn't say it's nice, but it doesn't taste as bad as you'd think. I'd have probably the equivalent of like 2 or 3 tablespoons. Maybe that's too much. I don't know. I don't always do it. I just do it once in a while when I'm about to have like a really big meal. And it seems to work. And maybe I'm just imagining it, but I feel like I have a bit more energy after eating when I do that. Or at least I don't become as exhausted by eating a big meal as I possibly would normally. Intermittent fasting as well. I mean, this isn't something I've taken up recently. This is something I've always done. But intermittent fasting also helps greatly with insulin sensitivity. So that's probably a really good thing to look into if you're not already doing it. And it's just really good anyway, I think, personally. It's a good way to control your eating and to improve your general health. And yeah, it's quite enjoyable in a weird way as well. So yeah, vinegar, garlic, raw garlic, every day. Various different reasons for this, but basically every day I'll have like 4 or 5 massive cloves of raw garlic minced. Apparently it's good to let it sit for 5 minutes and let it be exposed to the air and then eat it raw. So I've been doing that. It's pretty horrible, obviously, like it like burns your mouth if you eat it by itself. So I usually like mix it with a bit of hummus or just like something, or I just put it inside something and just kind of like force it down real quick, because it's quite painful to eat if you just eat it on its own. Yeah, what else? Water, obviously, goes without saying, really. But drink shitloads of water, like 3 or 4 litres a day if you can. Very important. Cool. So I'm going to talk next about topical treatments I've used, how effective or ineffective they've been. Right. So I started with the most obvious thing, benzoyl peroxide. I think it's been pretty good. I think it's useful. I think it works. I think it just like works as like a spot treatment. Yeah, I was probably using too much, and initially I had such like a bad problem that I think it was like I was having to just use way too much, and it just wasn't really like changing. And yeah, but now that things are more under control, I do find it very useful, like just to use a bit of. I don't know, it's hard to quantify, but I'm pretty sure it does work. So yeah, that. Another thing that's recommended a lot is salicylic acid. I don't know how to say it. Salicylic acid. I use that not in the way that most people do. I'll get onto that in a minute. But anyway, a really important, useful thing I've discovered was sulfur soap. I buy like a pure sulfur soap from Amazon, and just wash my face with that like twice a day, and that's really good. And it just feels very healthy. Feels very like, doesn't irritate you at all. Feels just hard to explain. Just feels like a good thing to be doing. I don't know. Yeah, and it doesn't seem to have to cause anybody problems. So I do that. The problem is that can cause that, and the B5 and all these other things can cause quite a lot of I'll write something down so I remember to talk about it later. Can cause quite a lot of dryness, and I couldn't use any like moisturizers or oils or anything. It would just like make everything worse. So what I've had to start doing is at night putting a layer of Vaseline over my face before I go to sleep. This is referred to on some of the like subreddits as slug life, because you just sort of feel a bit like a slug when you do it. Yeah, it's a bit disgusting at first. I don't know, you just have like Vaseline all over your face, you know, and you have to like just lie down and whatever, and it feels a bit weird. But I'm totally used to it now. It's normal, and it works really well because Vaseline is so thick it can't clog your pores. It's not possible, so it cannot cause you to have a breakout. It cannot clog your pores. If it does, there's something to do with the way that you're applying it. You've probably got bacteria on your face and you're putting the Vaseline over it, or your Vaseline is like dirty or something, or you're not doing it quickly enough after you shower. So what I do is I have a shower, usually with quite cold water, or at least at night I don't have cold showers because I don't want to wake myself up, but I don't use really hot water. Have a shower, use the sulfur soap, put on benzoyl peroxide, if only in specific places, not all over because it's like irritating, and then put Vaseline over that, and it works incredibly well. It doesn't literally like actively moisturize you. It just keeps your existing moisture in. So if you do it when your face is already damp as well, it's good. And yeah, it just sort of keeps your moisture in. The other problem possibly that people might have with it is if it's very hot and like you live in like a really hot, humid place, and you start sweating in the night and you've got the Vaseline on, it can like possibly block your pores then as well. So that's one other way it could cause problems. But generally speaking, if other forms of like moisturizing cause you problems, then I would recommend trying this, because this is what I eventually resorted to after like having problems with everything else. What else? You can mix honey and yogurt and turmeric and make a kind of thing to put on your face, especially like specific places. If you have like really bad acne in specific places, you can put this on. I've sort of stopped doing this now. I did feel it was working well, but it was hard to tell. I've stopped doing it, and I haven't really had any reason to go back to it because things have been fine. So I don't know, but yeah, it did seem to work for a while. It was good. Yeah, so the things that didn't work and the things that caused me a lot more problems, I don't know how you say it, CeraVe, whatever, their moisturizer, it's fucking highly recommended by a lot of people, good reviews on Amazon. It was terrible for me. I think it's like still like in my pores. It was crazy. It made everything much worse. So yeah, I stopped using that, and I looked it up, and it has a lot of stuff in it that can like clog your pores, and a lot of people have problems with it. I guess if you're not prone to acne, then it's fine, but even then it's like, well, it's still probably clogging your pores, you just don't know it is, and that doesn't seem healthy or good to me, even if it doesn't result in acne. So I think products like that are kind of better to be avoided if possible. I personally think people put too much stuff on their face. Like, I don't really think it's good to keep like smearing stuff all over your face and leaving it on all the time, and like, I don't know, I just don't think that's healthy, but whatever. Yeah, it's got quite a lot of ingredients, and it just seems like quite a weird kind of like gloopy substance that I don't really think should be. Yeah. So yeah, that was causing me a lot of problems. I had previously tried castor oil, same issue really, more or less. I then switched to jojoba oil or jojoba oil, I don't know how to say it. I'm in Spain, so I'm a bit confused about the letter J. That I think was the same. I think that caused me to have acne. I think that clogged my pores as well. Even though it's very low, I don't know how you say this word, the comedogenic scale or something. I don't know. It's very low on that scale. It's like a 1 or a 2, which means it barely clogs your pores at all. But many people have had problems with it, and it can definitely clog your pores and cause you to have acne. Maybe this was a hangover from using the CeraVe or CeraVe or whatever it's called, CeraVe, but it did seemingly cause me problems, and yeah, it wasn't worth it. I also tried like the oil cleansing method. Never understood that. People say you do it and you get these like, you feel all the dirt come out on your fingers and it's like really good, and I never had that. I was just fucking rubbing oil into my face and it just felt weird and it didn't really seem to help. So I've avoided all of those things. Seems to be very good for some people though. The oil cleansing method, people call it OCM. Seems to be very good for some people. I just, I don't know. I didn't want to continue with it. I didn't really want to take the risk because it did seem to be making things a lot worse. For example, the reason I thought these things were bad was because I was getting acne in places I didn't normally have it. Like I hadn't previously had it before. Like it was initially all of this was around my mouth. It was like nowhere else. It was pretty much just around my mouth. And when I started using these things, I was getting it on like my forehead and like around my eyebrows and shit, and like more of it up here than down here, which was weird, you know. So that told me it was something I was using. So yeah, I stopped all of those, and now I just use Vaseline. And again, cold showers in the morning. I use salicylic acid on a pad, like wipe off the Vaseline. Then cold shower, sulfur soap. The cold shower is good because it doesn't dry out your face. It's like just good anyway. You know, cold water on your face anyway is good, and it's great for other reasons. Cold showers are just fantastic in general. And yeah, cold shower in the morning. Do all of that. My face is fine because I've had the cold shower, so I'm not really like dry. Like hot water obviously like dries you out and irritates your skin. And then at night I do have like a slightly warmer shower, and I put the Vaseline on and shit. I don't need anything else. I don't need to use like a moisturizer or actually like rub anything into my pores, and like shit's fine, you know. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. 4 other things. Oh well, one of them I've already just mentioned, cold shower. A couple of other things. Well, one is toothpaste. A lot of people recommend switching to an SLS free toothpaste. Acne around the mouth can be caused by sodium lauryl stearate or something. I don't know. I was fairly sure that wasn't the cause of mine, but so many people said this helped them. I don't know if there's shills for the non-SLS toothpaste companies on all these forums, but a lot of people said they had, you know, completely cured their acne, which I found crazy because I don't think it did anything for me, and I don't think I was like dribbling toothpaste all over myself every time I brush my teeth, to be perfectly honest. Like that seems a bit crazy. So yeah, I don't think that helped, but can help a lot of people apparently. I still use an SLS free toothpaste anyway because, you know, why not? Changing your pillowcase every night if you can, especially if you're doing slug life. It's probably a good idea to change your pillowcase every night because you'll have like Vaseline on it. Yeah, and just in general it's good, and just in general just being mindful of bacteria and stuff like that getting on your face. Another thing, this is a weird one, but close the lid of the toilet when you flush it and don't stand near it. Be mindful of little things like that can get a lot of bacteria in your face. Things like while you're like cooking and things like that, try to be careful of like what gets on your face and how much you touch your face and stuff like that. A lot of people say don't ever touch your face, and that seems a bit unreasonable to me and like a bit sort of sad. You know, it's nice to be able to touch your own face sometimes, like not in a weird way, you know, but just like just lean on your own arm or whatever, or like, you know, when you're stressed, like put your hands on your head, whatever. But yeah, I can't, it seems a bit crazy to me to like never touch your face, but definitely be careful and try and keep your hands clean in general. Yeah, like, and every time you're going to apply something, obviously wash your hands first. I'm sure no one needs me to tell them this, but yeah, I'm always very careful when I'm doing like benzoyl peroxide or anything else. Like, always wash my hands first. Another thing I forgot. I only just started this. It's called like clindamycin or clindamycin. It's an antibiotic. I don't agree with taking oral antibiotics for acne, by the way. One, because they do fuck up your gut flora, which in the long term is going to make your acne problems worse, most likely, or at least has the potential to. 2, it's very bad to take antibiotics long term. It's not a long term solution. It's a pointless short term solution in my opinion. But this is a topical antibiotic, or a topical form of one that is also available as an oral antibiotic, And yeah, it's not irritating at all. It's easy to put on. You can combine it with other things. So yeah, I've been using that. I've only been using it for a few days, but it seems good. Yeah, it seems to work well. So I've been using that. I would recommend maybe giving that a try or looking into it as well, because I didn't know about it for a while. I was doing a lot of research into this stuff and I never really saw it mentioned. Stress in general, like stress appears to trigger acne, inflammation, and is obviously just bad. It's not good to be stressed out. It can be very hard to control your stress when every day you wake up and you are like covered in whiteheads and stuff. You know, it's like really like it is quite a stressful thing, because it's like you want to control it and you can't. You know, you want to you just feel like if this would just go away, everything would be fine and I could just feel normal. And it's very stressful when you feel like it's getting better and then it gets worse again and it keeps happening. And I'm not 100% sure. I'm still not 100% sure I'm like fully out of the woods, because occasionally like it gets bad again. But yeah, I would, if possible, and again I say this with respect for the fact that I know that like everybody's situation varies in severity and it's a lot worse for many people than it has been for me, but I really think it can get better for like pretty much everybody, and a lot of people tell you that that's not true. I really don't agree with that, and I think there are like so many things you can look into. The human body is incredibly complicated, and that people say, oh no, this is the only thing that works. This is the only thing that works. It really annoys me. People say, don't bother with, vitamins. Accutane is the only thing that works. Well, there's a lot of research that says that various different supplements and vitamins do work. So they're wrong. Even if those things don't work for you, they're completely wrong to tell you not to bother with those things. They're completely wrong to tell you to like give up hope and to just go on something that potentially has loads of side effects, or that you don't want to take, or that you've already tried, or whatever else. A lot of people are closed-minded, basically, and they will fill you with a lot of negativity. So yeah, try to ignore that and be positive and open-minded if you can, and look for new things, and but be careful about what you're taking and doing, obviously. But yeah, anyway, yeah, it's very stressful experience. So I know it's very hard to control that stress, but if you can try it. Sorry about the dog barking, he's going nuts. If you can just try to just trust in the process and remember that like it almost definitely will get better. If you start doing a lot of these things or other things that you find independently, like it will improve, and try to just focus your mind on that as much as you can, and like accept how it is in the present, and try not to exacerbate the situation with stress if you can. Yeah, I probably should have done more to control the stress component of it. For example, meditation, things like that. I do take supplements like theanine and ginkgo biloba and various other things to control stress. A lot of supplements. I do worry about that sometimes. I'm putting a lot of stuff in my body, and I'd rather not have to do all of these things, at some point in time. But anyway, yeah, that in general is good anyway, even if it doesn't help with your acne. Yeah, the last thing. So I'm thinking now maybe of going on tretinoin. I avoided this for ages because it has like a purge and all of this, and I don't know. I'm thinking of it now, even though like things are fine now, most of the time, not all the time. Like sometimes it like flares up again and it's quite bad for a few days, and it depends. It's all about timing as well, really, isn't it? Like, with your social life and whatever else. If you're just at home working all day, it doesn't really matter. But anyway, yeah, it can be quite bad. And I would also like to be able to like eat a bit more freely and not have to sort of do all of these things I'm doing all the time. So I'm thinking of going on tretinoin, but yeah, it seems to almost always, if you're prone to acne, it seems to cause like a massive purge that can last months and be really crazy and stressful. And I'm a bit hesitant to go through all of that. But it's kind of a good time to do it if I do, because it's the winter and it's going to be a bit of a quiet time anyway, COVID restrictions and everything else. And yeah, I just kind of think maybe I should do it now, get the purge out of the way if I'm going to have one. And because once you're past that, it has loads of other benefits as well. And yeah, it means that the acne that you do have, it comes and goes much quicker. And in general, it's like good for like, because I still have like, not scars so much. I think they're called PIEs. They're like dark red marks that are left behind after acne. I still have a lot of that. So I'm thinking of going on it for that. But yeah, I worry that I'll do it and then immediately regret it. So I don't know. If I do, I'll document the process. You'll probably see it in my other videos anyway if I start having fucking crazy purge from it. But yeah, that's about all. If I remember anything else, I'll add it in the comments and maybe do another video sometime. As usual, if you've got any experiences or ideas or anything to share, feel free. Mention in the comments, or any questions about, you know, how to take any of these things or which ones are good or whatever else, you know, where to get them, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, if this is the first video of mine you've seen, check out my channel, subscribe, and please share this video if you know anyone or any like group of people or community who will find it useful. Hope it was useful for you in some way. Thanks for watching.